Taco Tuesday, cannot wait. No, it's time to go. And I'm excited. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go get tacos. So without any further ado, let's get started. Thank you for joining me, by the way. We got a number of things to talk about. First, guys, I got to tell you about my new favorite podcast. You will want to check this out. And they're also our sponsor, and we're happy to have them as a sponsor. Appreciate their support. But guys, you have to check out the Electric Boogaloo podcast. Now, Electric Boogaloo podcast it's about movie reviews. And yeah, there's a million podcasts that do movie reviews, but this one, this one's different. Okay. All they review is sequels. So all of a sudden there's a whole different set of priorities that these guys talk about. So I just went back and listened to a few of my favorites. One, Young Guns 2, their review of Young Guns 2. I don't mean to spoil it. But one of the guys, I don't know if it's Brad or Scott, I can't remember. His favorite character in the movie is Chavez's hair. It's so funny. You got to go listen to that. The latest episode is actually about Empire Strikes Back. So Electric Boogaloo podcast, all it is reviews of sequels. And man, just reading through the titles of the podcast, you know it's going to be good because there's so much for these guys to cover. They do top 5 lists. It's awesome. They release once a month. Well, once a month they do the top 5 list, right? But they release a new episode every Thursday. So every Thursday there's a new episode of the Electric Boogaloo podcast. Brad and Scott have been watching movies together since they were kids. So there's a natural chemistry there. And to be honest, it's just hilarious. So if you're a movie fan, a fan of bad movies, bad sequel movies, and good ones, chances are Brad and Scott will be talking about it on their podcast. They're a sponsor, and I'm happy to have them as a sponsor and happy to send you to their podcast because I know you'll enjoy it. The Electric Boogaloo podcast. Check them out. And I know you'll enjoy it as much as I did. Hart and Jimmy Fallon. Did you see this? They teamed up yesterday to cover Bonnie Tyler's, get this, Total Eclipse of the Heart. You get it? There was an eclipse going on. Hart was there. Here's the thing about Kimmel, or not Kimmel. Kimmel's a dork chop. Jimmy Fallon. It was on the Jimmy Fallon show. These musical numbers that he does are always very good. The dude is talented. And of course, he's got Hart there. So Ann and Nancy are there. And one of the greatest vocalists ever is, thank goodness he had there, because she carries the actual vocal part, right? But it's so well done. They're shooting, it looks like on top of a building with the eclipse going on as they're performing. And yeah, it's funny and it's campy, but it's really good. Very impressed with Jimmy Fallon's, and I've seen him do things with Jack Black, musical numbers, and they're really well done. They're funny, but the talent is there. I mean, they're really well done. So as soon as this is over, you got to do 2 things. You got to go check out Electric Boogaloo podcast, and you got to go check out this on YouTube. Jimmy Fallon performing Total Eclipse of the Heart with Hart. Time well spent. Time well spent. Okay, I'm excited about this. Again, tour season coming up. Lots of tours will be announced. Well, this one, definitely one I would want to check out if it comes to my neck of the woods. Deep Purple and Yes are teaming up for North American Summer Tour. Starts in August 14th in Hollywood, Florida. It's short. It's going to wrap up September 8th, but I bet more dates will be added. 2 of my favorite bands, Deep Purple and Yes. I mean, what could go wrong? Deep Purple is performing stuff from their entire catalog, as is Yes. Yes is actually even Well, I don't know if they'll be performing. I shouldn't say this. I shouldn't say this. I know they've announced the expanded anniversary box set of the 1994 album Talk, which I don't believe includes Steve Howe. He was not on that album. Steve Howe is back in Yes, so he will be touring with Yes. But yeah, I was going to say they're doing music from Talk. I don't think that's the case, but they are promoting that new anniversary box set. So if you're a fan of Deep Purple and or Yes, great opportunity to see them. Guys, these bands aren't going to be around much longer. Got to get out and see them when they are in your neighborhood. Speaking of that, Dee Snider said that the offers for a Twisted Sister reunion are getting so much bigger and better that it's almost impossible to refuse them. He says that the band had begun, quote, very general discussions about how they might do new shows and speculated on why the group is facing such demand to get back together. He says, quote, as a result of all the bands retiring and dying, the offers get bigger and bigger for the holdouts to come back. This is what Gene told the Hook Rocks in a recent interview. Quote, we're on 8 years of not playing with no intention of coming back. But my father, he says everything before the word but is BS. At some point, you got to say, well, how can I say no to that? He said they haven't reached the point to where it's getting close, such that they would be doing it. I guess it's getting closer, right? He says, in the event that the numbers do get there, meaning it gets so big that they can't say no, in the event that the numbers do get there, and they sure as hell seem to be going in that direction, how are we going to do this? And then he says, quote, and there's some very general discussion on that involving personal trainers, diets, hair extensions. And that's the first time in 8 years that the conversation has changed. He says they've reflected on the band's previous reunion, saying, quote, the surviving guys, we all talk and we're all friends and we love each other. And that was one of the great things that came out of getting back together the first time. We managed to fix the friendships and be friends. And that to me is really why I wanted to do it in the first place, end quote. So stay tuned. We may be hearing news of a Twisted Sister reunion. We'll see. Ozzy Osbourne and Billy Morrison. Billy Morrison, of course, was a rhythm guitarist for Billy Idol, and he actually played bass for the Cult. Well, Ozzy and Billy have announced the launch of their new internet TV show, The Madhouse Chronicles. Morrison spoke about the Madhouse Chronicles in the latest episode of the Osbournes podcast. He says, quote, our new show, The Madhouse Chronicles, is dropping this April, which is this month. Join us as we sit back in the Osbourne madhouse, reacting to the wildest internet clips and diving into topics like aliens, drugs, conspiracies, and rock and roll. So it's basically like reaction videos with Ozzy. The reaction videos, they're all, think about that business model. I'm going to make a YouTube channel where I just watch other people's content and react to it. Kind of what I do here. I hadn't really thought about it that way. But yeah, watch for that. The Madhouse Chronicles coming to an internet TV near you. Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in for the update. And let me throw out another plug for the hot new internet radio station, Classic Guitar Rock Radio. It's awesome. Whoever curates the music on that station needs a big fat raise. Oh, it's me. Anyways, in all seriousness, if you're in your 50s, right? If you're a fan of classic rock, if you're a fan of 80s music, if you're a fan of, if you're Gen X, I think you'd really like the radio station. You can just go hashtag CGR radio. You can even just go to Google and type in Classic Guitar Rock Radio and you'll find it, right? But do me a favor and check it out and then let me know what you think. Guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Take care. Live long and prosper, and happy